The Financial Times and the Wall Street Journal initially called my plan Bidenomics. I'm not sure they meant it in a totally complimentary way at the time. But guess what? It's working. Our economic plan, made possible by all of you in this room, and that's not hyperbole, created more than 13,400,000 jobs, new jobs, since I took office. Nearly 800,000 manufacturing jobs. Where is it written that America can't create the most vibrant and innovative economy and be the world's leading manufacturer again? Where's that written? I didn't see that anywhere. We created more jobs in 2 years than any administration has in a single 4-year term. And I'm very proud. I'm very proud that unemployment has been below 4% for the longest stretch in over 50 years. Below 4% and going down. We now have more jobs than we did before the pandemic. And workers aren't just finding more jobs, they're finding better jobs, higher pay, higher job satisfaction. And unemployment is down, and so is inflation. Remember what the experts told us, okay? And they're traditional economists, very smart women and men. They told us getting inflation under control, in order to do that, we had to lower wages and increase unemployment. Not a joke. We had to lower wages and increase unemployment. But we never thought the problem was too many people, at least I didn't, too many people that were working, or the working people were making too much money. I just thought that was not the best answer to how to get it down. Now, one reason we've seen inflation fall by 2/3 without losing jobs is corporate profits are coming back down to earth. The excesses are being eliminated by the corporations. We have more to do, but inflation is now the lowest point it's been in 2 years. When the Inflation Reduction Act was passed a year ago today, inflation was, as it pointed out by Chuck or Nancy, I can't remember which one, 8.3%. It's now down to 3.2%. The lowest among, and it's going to go lower. But here's the point, it's lowest among the world's leading economies. Take every major economy in the world, we have the lowest inflation rate. At the same time, wages are growing faster than inflation. This matters. The Inflation Reduction Act is giving people more breathing room, as my dad would say, and it's supercharging the economic transition in key ways. First, it's taking the most aggressive action ever on climate energy, ever. I've long said, and that's why I think all the unions have come along. I've long said, when I think climate, not a joke, I think jobs. I think jobs. You know, just don't take it from me. The CEO of U.S. Steel called the Inflation Reduction Act manufacturing, he called it the Manufacturing Renaissance Act, because it's bringing jobs back to America, manufacturing here in America, made in America. According to leading Wall Street firms, Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs, our broader investment in investing in America agenda is unleashing a boom of manufacturing investments. And we're leaving nobody behind. We're investing in all of America, in the heartland and coast to coast. You know, I saw a few of my Democratic friends not in Congress, but friends said, look, you're investing more in red states than in blue states. Well, I made a commitment. This is about all of America. I was the president. No, I really mean it. We've seen progress across the country from Maine to South Carolina to Minnesota to New Mexico. The Vice President and I and the Cabinet have seen progress across the country. Just yesterday, I was in Wisconsin at a company that makes clean energy equipment, including wind turbines. Because of the Inflation Reduction Act, they expect their market in American-made wind turbine generators to double next year. And by the way, the guy who was the most ardent opponent of all this was talking about what great benefits are coming to Wisconsin. Bless me, Father. I'm going to be a good boy. I'm going to keep the Irish in me down a little bit. At the same time, we're also boosting our nation's energy security. For years, China dominated the clean energy supply chains. We let the American jobs and factories go overseas. For how long have we gone through this period where the answer for the previous, mostly in Republican, some Democratic administrations, the answer had been find the cheapest labor in the world, go close the factory here, build it over there, wherever that is, and then import the product from abroad? Not anymore. We are building it here and sending the product over there. I mean, we're bringing critical supply chains and technologies home for electric vehicle batteries, solar panels, wind turbines, critical minerals. And because the CHIPS and Science Act, we've generated $231 billion in private investment in making semiconductors. $231 billion. The small computer chip, the size of the end of your fingertip, that affects nearly everything in our lives, from cell phones to automobiles to the most sophisticated weapon systems. You know, we invented these chips. We used to produce these chips. We stopped. And we saw during the pandemic, we paid a high price for things that when overseas factories shut down, we paid a big price. But now we're bringing semiconductors home. 1 in 3 seniors on Medicare is going to save an average of $400 a year. Seniors with the highest drug costs are going to save an average of $2,500 a year. And the pharma companies are still going to do very, very well. The laws require that drug companies will raise prices faster than inflation. If they do that, they're going to have to pay the difference back to Medicare. That will create an incentive to keep prices from skyrocketing. And negotiating drug prices alongside other parts of the law will save the federal government $160 billion, reducing the cost of government by $160 billion. It will lower the federal deficit because it means what happens here is Medicare is going to be paying less for the prescription drugs they deliver to the American people. So not that no one making less than $400,000 a year will pay a single penny more in federal taxes. It's a commitment I've kept so far, and as long as I'm president, I will keep it. Unlike the last president, in my first 2 years in office, we actually cut the federal deficit by $1.7 trillion. Hear me? The first 2 years, we cut the debt by $1.7 trillion. Folks, this law is transformative. It fell entirely to Democrats to deliver it. I hope we've seen, with all the people out there claiming the credit for it, they've decided that they're going to join the fight. They're going to join the fight. I took well, I guess I shouldn't get into that. But one congressperson who's been particularly strident about me laid out all that we did. We just took it and used it as an ad. I didn't know. You think I'm kidding? Here's what. The idea that not one single Republican voted for. You know, and I know my colleagues know this, and I've had 7 of my former Republican colleagues in the Senate come to me and say they agreed with us. And I promised I'd never say their names, and I never will tell anybody. But the reason they did that was they said, Joe, if I vote for X, Y, or Z, they're going to primary and it'll cost me my election. Not a lot of political courage, but an explanation of why there's a lot of people who believe what we're doing is right, but just are a little worried in this environment. In fact, Republicans have repeatedly tried to repeal key parts of the Inflation Reduction Act, including the Speaker of the House now, taking credit for the billions of dollars in private investments and thousands of jobs coming into their states. That's okay. I ran for president, and I said I represent all Americans. And like I said in the State of the Union, I'll see you at the groundbreaking. You think I'm kidding? You know I'm not. Let me close with this. I'm not here to declare victory on the economy. Our economy is stronger and better than any industrial nation in the world right now. But we have more work to do. We have a plan that's turning things around. The Inflation Reduction Act is a part of that plan. Bidenomics is just another way of saying restoring the American dream. I believe every American willing to work hard, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, My dad used to say, Joey, a job's about a lot more than a paycheck. Give me my word. A lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay, and mean it. Any person willing to work hard should be able to get a job, no matter where they live, raise their kids on a good paycheck, and keep their roots where they grew up. How many of you from Midwestern states and border states have not found yourself in a position where they provide a good education? The most important thing I want to say today is thank you, America. Thank you, Americans. We faced some tough times in recent years, but you, the American people, didn't give up. You're the ones getting up every single day going to work. You're the ones taking the risks, opening the doors, hiring workers, fulfilling dreams. And all we hear from our friends on the other side of the aisle is what they claim is what's wrong with America. Let me tell you, they're telling us America's failing. They're dead wrong. They're dead wrong. America isn't failing. America's winning. And I've said 1,000 times. I've said 1,000 times. 1,000 times. There is no quit in America. Name me a single objective we've ever set out to accomplish that we've failed on. Name me one in all of our history. Not one. It's never been a good bet to bet against America. And it's still not a good bet today. This is still a country that believes in honesty, decency, and integrity. We're still a country that believes in hard work. We're still a country that believes in each and every one of us is created equal. We've never fully lived up to it. We've never walked away from it. And I guarantee you we're still the beacon for the world. You ought to come with me to all these international meetings. Listen to the rest of the world, what they say to the President of the United States. Everyday ordinary people. Every day get up and do extraordinary things. That's who we are. America's best days aren't behind us, they're ahead of us. This isn't about the past, it's about the future we're going to build. And I've never been more optimistic about America's future. Just remember who in God's name we are. We're the United States of America. And there's nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Distinguished guests, please remain in your seats as the President departs the East Room. Thank you.